So the larger vision behind initiating this project or this organization is or was that first of all, the name itself is very suggestive of what we want to do. So Parichay is like a two-way introduction. So of course we introduce the individuals that we work with different opportunities and exposure to support and promote their learning and development. But our goal is also to introduce the community and the stakeholders of the community, the education system, and the larger groups of people associated with the special needs community as well as communities in general, to the fact that even it is our responsibility also to understand these children or these individuals and to see these individuals beyond the so-called disabilities that they have. So whatever their condition is, we specifically kind of work with children and individuals who have developmental disabilities. Now even within within developmental, we work with neurodevelopmental, and even within neurodevelopmental we work largely with children who are on the autism spectrum and who have some kind of learning and behavioral disabilities or special needs. So having acknowledged that they do have certain disabilities, it is also very important that we understand whether these disabilities are a result of their condition or their environment is kind of making them disabled to kind of achieve the next best thing that is for them. So we also have to understand their potential, and every individual has their own potential. We do this by understanding their strengths, their motivations and their interests while working on their needs. So the larger goal is to kind of spread this awareness and as well as develop certain frameworks and systems which could cater to this vision of ours. And as we all know that every individual's basic right is education, then why not these children who are like our education system is gearing up towards positive changes with the new education policy and everything coming into picture. Then I feel that as an educator, as a person from the field of psychology, even I want to be a part of this ecosystem where through my vision and through this organization we also work towards providing basic literacy and numeracy and helping professionals and parents understand that how can we go about creating environments which support and promote learning, and within learning also aiming for basic literacy and numeracy for these children. I had already cleared the first two exams of chartered accountancy. I did my 3 years of internship, and after that it kind of I kind of, because I was in the field, I did my internship. As much as I liked that, I kind of realized that I am not that passionate about it because I'm not doing any extra. For me it is all like, if I am passionate about something, I would kind of read everything that I find about the subject and would want to be kind of keep myself abreast to what is going on. But I was not particularly that involved in that. I realized that doing CA was my decision, but it was not something I looked at it as a profession that I wanted to pursue. And as we grow, of course our perspectives change, our experiences help us understand newer nuances of how things are in life. So then I realized, okay, I take it as a profession. I always like learning, so I'm learning it also. But is it truly that something that kind of moves me, where I would go lengths and breadths to understand what is this about. It is as small. This is something I introspected and observed in myself. I would not like to go and attend seminars about changes in the taxation law. I would not be very eager like when the new budget would come out, whereas I knew people around me who would want to do that, who were very eager to know what are the new changes that are happening, what is the new accounting standard. And I realized that in comparison to them, I was not that involved in this field. So I realized that maybe this is not something for me. And then as I had mentioned before, I had the correct kind of mentoring and guidance. And so then when I consulted my parents as well as my mentor, they were okay to support me to make the shift. Okay, that was decided, but then the field is, so sometimes when you have the liberty to choose for yourself, it comes with this great how would I put it, then there are a lot of options and that also can confuse a 20-something-year-old. I was in my early 20s at that point in time. So now I had everything, like it was an open field and I had to choose. I was free to choose. So that kind of liberty also puts to a 20-year-old, it is kind of burdensome, because now it's all open. Now there is no carved pathway. Before I knew that okay, if I complete my CA, if I pass my finals, then I have to apply for jobs, or there is this set thing, because that is what I was pursuing from 12th standard onwards, like actually from 11th, because that is when we choose our fields. And now there was totally nothing. Now I had to again carve a pathway, understand other fields. That I was very sure, because I always had a very positive experience with schooling, positive experience with education, positive experience with learning, be it my parents, be it the teachers that I had gotten till now. Everything was very positive in that area. I knew somewhere before that, yes, I like the field of teaching, I like the field of education. Reading is something I enjoy doing, so I knew kind of human psyche is also something I'm interested in, understanding human behaviors and emotions and all. So in a way, psychology is something that did interest me, but now I did not know how to go about it. So I did kind of a lot of reading and research and things like so, and realized that okay, the easiest way to get into the field, not the easiest, but the best possible way is to do bachelor's in education. And that is what gave me like a insight. That is how I started. So my first thing that I did after quitting my CA was I did my bachelor's in education. I did my B.Ed, and I'm lucky enough that actually at the very same time my father was also working on establishing a school, which is now a very known, a very established CBSE school in Ahmedabad, and it was in its very infancy stage. And so I did get a chance to also work there when the school was up and coming. So that kind of really helped. So the name Parichay means Parichay in itself means introduction. So here introducing the children we work with to the new possibilities of learning and developing, that is there. And a lot of people in the community are working towards this, undoubtedly. But being a not-for-profit organization and being an organization that wants to work in this field, I also have another kind of an objective where I want the community at large to be introduced to the various special needs as well as the untapped potential and strengths and interests and motivations that these individuals have, just like you and me. And the reason behind this is we talk about inclusion and integration, But how is this inclusion, how do we think this inclusion is possible? Inclusion in a general sense would mean that I also know, I make an effort to know you, you make an effort to know me, and so we will be able to include, accommodate each other with all our characteristics. Like, it could be positive, it could be negative, doesn't matter. Inclusion needs that kind of an involvement. It cannot be one way. We cannot only work with these individuals so that they can function in our world. Our world also has to understand, because our world is their world as well. They are part of this community. Inclusion, it is also kind of ironical that we have to use words like inclusion. Inclusion in what? In a society they already belong to. But we have to use these words like inclusion, because somewhere we know that as a community, as a society, as a world at large, we are still not ready to sometimes accept things that don't look like us, or that don't feel like us, or people who don't behave like us. That is why, even if you want to advocate something like inclusion, it is our responsibility also to understand the other person, irrespective, because you and I also have our special needs. Some or the other special need everybody has. Even somebody who is going through something at that point in time might have a special need, So like, why to not understand the diversities? Nature is diverse in itself. We see that even things around us, animals, birds, everything in nature is diverse. Then why not the diversity of human minds and human brains? So I feel that introduction is important to promote, advocate inclusion. So Parichay encompasses that emotion in itself, that of course we work with the children, of course we work with the families, but then also we work with the community to kind of introduce these new aspects, because the community, like, we all know the challenges and the special needs, but do we take time to understand the potential, the strength, their interest, their motivation? Because they do have them, and they are actually very specially abled than you and I, because they have some strengths which we kind of don't have, because we have the tendency to get distracted a lot, so that is the whole emotion behind the word Parichay and the name Parichay. So when I was back in the US pursuing my master's in developmental psychology is also when I applied for an internship there, and I got into the internship, and the internship was at a learning center which was providing ABA therapy services for children on the autism spectrum. So my first interaction was never with a child with a learning disability, but with children who were on the autism spectrum. Very frankly, this kind of came very naturally to me, where I was not very overwhelmed by that. It was more like how diverse is our human mind, how diverse is our there is so much diversity in the way we behave, we think, or we process information. So that kind of intrigued me, and it was very interesting to see that how these children were learning, adapting to what they were being taught, and even the connections they were forming with their educators or their therapists. So all of that was quite interesting, and it kind of did reinforce the fact that no, this is what I want to do as well. It was reinforcing more than anything, motivating. I was already motivated to be in this field, but it was quite reinforcing that I want to do this. This is something I will be able to do, because I'm very naturally, because as I had mentioned before, here is when I was going length and breadth and reading about things. If I was not understanding something, I was asking questions about it to my seniors there, and they were also very supportive. They encouraged and welcomed my questions, welcomed my whatever I had to kind of ask and understand. So it was again a very positive experience. So that did, and it was kind of an independent center that was working. So I think that is when the seeds of having my own center, those were sown back then. I don't know how and what, and I did not know all those intricacies, but I knew that this is something, I would want to pursue someday, where we have such a safe space, we have such a good space where these children are given the kind of attention they require, and at their pace, and what is comfortable for them. That is how things are going, and that was a great direct and indirect learning experience. So I think, yes, that internship did play a very a very vital role in reinforcing my choices ahead. We do want to, and we will be doing outreach programs, because we understand that not everybody can come here at our center. So this is the center. As the name suggests, it is a center where all the activities are planned and directed and developed and designed. But we understand that not every child will be able to come here for various reasons, because we want to work across all socioeconomic status, across all socioeconomic strata. We want to include, basically we want to work with children with certain disorders and conditions, and also the families of these children or individuals, and kind of be a part of their ecosystem. So having said that, we do understand they will not come here, they will not be able to come here, but we will have to reach to them. So we do have that in mind. Our long-term vision is outreach programs. Our long-term vision is trying to collaborate with different professionals, different para-professionals, collaborate with different parents, families, and the community at large, to kind of bring about components in the ecosystem of special needs, because there has to be a continuum of services. Right now there are services, in my experience and in whatever maybe this could be coming from a place where I might still not be exposed so much to what is out there, but for whatever I have experienced and seen till now, I don't feel currently we have a continuum of services. There are services, quality services for for that matter, but there is no continuum. A parent still it happens that a parent comes to us and we see that kind of a state of confusion, and also we are sometimes confused that what next can we suggest them. It is all because there could be a lack of continuum of services, or that kind of a collaboration between these services out there, and even that kind of awareness that it is not only it is not only the only goal to send them to a formal school or get into education and learning is not just limited to a formal school. There could be many more options. So there is so much to be done to create this continuum, and I see that as an organization we would want to work to somehow create this continuum, not on our own, because I firmly believe that it is not a one-man army kind of a thing. We need strong collaborations, we need involvement, the involvement of a lot of stakeholders to make this possible. But through Parichay, we would want to be a part of this, where we could kind of contribute to developing such continuum of services. And it is kind of, it could be transitionary services, not only therapy. So right now parents are aware of different things, like there is a pediatrician, there is a neuro person, there is a psychiatrist, there could be therapy centers, and then there is schooling. How do these work together? Because there is one child and so many services. So of course the child is at the center. So everybody has to kind of collaborate to understand how we better work with this child. Otherwise this child is getting quality services but not in tandem. It is not synchronized. It is very asynchronized. It might be confusing the parents. It might be confusing the child. We don't know that. So we through Parichay we do want to kind of work. So maybe not ourselves provide that kind of a therapy, but kind of provide that kind of a medium, become that kind of a medium which makes this thing a possibility, so that the parents are empowered enough to continue their journey and not give up on the journey of the child. We want our one liner that support and promote learning and development of a child. And so there are so many ways we could do that. And as we are getting into this zone, we are realizing there's so much more to do. Maybe if you ask me again, I might have 2 more things added to the vision or to the objectives of this organization. But if I could put in a word, we want to keep on understanding how we could make this community and the society a protective factor in the development of these children and individuals. Because there is this concept where I have done my master's in developmental psychology, so we did have this kind of a theory, or like sort of a theory where the child, so in the development of a child there could be risk factors and there could be protective factors. So protective factors are those factors which kind of contribute to the positive development of this child. They are the factors that help and enrich the child's development, whereas the risk factors would be those factors which are not contributing to the development of the child and leading to some kind of atypical development or some kind of atypicality in the child's development. Now you and I also could strive to be a protective factor in a child's life or a risk factor. It is about how we engage with the child. So it has always, like when I studied this in my first semester in developmental psychopathology, I said that this is exactly what we should do. Anything I do, any venture I take up, anywhere I work, this thing has to be there, that how do I or how does my work become a protective factor in any child's development. Now of course I have a very kind of right now I'm working in a more specific kind of a very concrete, I have it narrowed down the population that I'm working with, but that thing is still there. Whoever I work with, I and my organization, I and my efforts would always be towards becoming a protective factor in any child's development. So we have to just keep on working as to how do we give out our services in a way that it is always going to add to the child's development and not take away anything from the child's development. So when you work with any child, not only a child with special needs, any child, the parents do trust, they are trusting you with their child and your child's future. So it is kind of a very big responsibility. It can be overwhelming, but at the same time, what I found is that when you include parents, in the decision making for their child, they are your biggest supporters. Parents will support you, they will help you, and this is what I have learned in my journey, that parents can be very motivating also at times. it and I and of course parents all, not every parent is the same, so they also have their own ideologies, their own perspective, their own expectations, like any parent has. So but having these open, transparent, candid conversations with them, where we are very open about what we are here to do, what we are not, what we are here not to do, how we can help, where we can help, where we are not qualified to help. When you very openly discuss these things with them, they do understand, because of course for those whom we are not meeting up to their expectations, even this clarity, this open conversation gives them the clarity whether they want to put their child with us or not. So those who don't want to would of course not continue here, but having these open conversations are important, because what I've learned is that when we have such open discussion and conversations, parents do kind of get something to explore or think about new, because any discussion opens new avenues for us, for them as well. So I think my best way to but to work around this is include parents, because these children are with us for 2 hours, 3 hours, maximum 4 hours, but parents, like these children are going to be with the parents for majority of their lives, and the parents know better, and where they don't know better, they are confiding in us and helping us understand their apprehensions or their point of views as well. It is very important that we do include parents. And when you kind of develop a bond with, not like when you develop that kind of a bond and a dynamics with the parents, they are also willing to kind of help us where we need the correct help, because even as a professional and all, we do have our qualifications in place, we might have the right theories with us about how to go about things, but they know their child better, they are more experienced than us, because they have like a full one-on-one experience with their child, they know every aspect of that child. So I think making them a part of our journey and including them has helped us always, and has helped us plan better for the child, execute our plans better, and also we've always felt a sense of support from them. Of course, no two people might always agree on the same things, but when that dynamics is there, you kind of find a middle ground and conversations and discussions, open discussions, always lead to good things, never to anything that is going to hamper, because by these open discussions, the parents also come to know that ultimately what matters is the child's learning and development, no other agenda is here. So that way we've been, especially I have also been quite lucky enough to have those kind of support system to find that support system in parents. There have been times where we've told parents that, see, this is a new avenue for us, you will have to help us, and parents have gone out of their way and helped us help their child, as well as learn how to help other children when that same situation might come up for other children whom we work with. So yes. So I think as long as you in yourself are very sure that you do like this, that you do like interacting with children, and that you are ready to develop that kind of patience that it requires to work with any child, because like I said, we have to be a protective factor in the child's life. That doesn't mean that we have to be perfect. I am telling you this because this comes from my own personal experience, because there was a point in my life when I was in my early 20s where I thought that if I become an educator, first I have to be like so perfect Otherwise, how would I ever, because I always somewhere knew the fact that teachers are role models for the child. It is kind of a very universal thing, because any adult becomes a model for the child, especially in their early stages of their in the early stages of their life, because we are kind of creating examples of how the social world would be when they grow and go outside. So I understand that pressure, where okay, we are working with a human, with a child who is growing, and we will be playing a role in their development and all of that. But children are very intelligent. Children will give you kind of indirect feedbacks where they will display whether they are accepting of you or not, whether they are liking the way you are working with them or not. So I think as long as the child is very happy to work with you, it means that they have accepted you, that they like how you work with them. So you should give it a chance. Of course, there are these prerequisites where you have to develop that kind of patience. We are the adults, they are children. So of course, they don't understand what our expectations are. They don't understand a lot of things because they're here to learn. If we kind of have that mindset in our, if we have those certain kind of guiding principles fixed in our mind that they are children, they are here to learn. So of course, we will have to be patient with them. We will have to be aware and conscious. This, the field of teaching, educating is such where it is meditative in a way, because you cannot afford to not focus in the moment. It's very beautiful if you kind of give it a thought, because you are interacting with a child, you are developing a dynamic between the two of you where you cannot afford to not be in the moment. It is very meditative. And if you think that this is something that you want to do, you should try, because sometimes it is when the child is in front of you, you immediately become meditative. Like me personally, when I am with the child, it just so happens naturally that all the rest of my mind's chatter stops, because now I am with the child. And it's very beautiful, because it's not about what you're teaching them, how you're teaching them. If you develop that kind of a bond with the child, ultimately it becomes a very meditative process, and you and the child both enjoy that kind of a symbiotic, that synergetic relationship that comes out of that. So I think if your personality is a thing, every teacher, every educator is first a learner. So you have to be ready that you will have to learn, adapt, modify, accommodate, change. And as long as there is a readiness, all else you will do. As I had already mentioned before, that the whole point when I was at the point of switching my careers, this was the make or break, that in my other career I was not trying that hard. So when you are ready to try that hard, it means that you will somehow mold yourself to fit the role that you are wanting to play.